On this week's episode of The Insider, an update on the busy fall calendar ahead, as well as taking a peek at some of the agenda items for this week's City Council meeting. Then, Rob begins an occasional series called Stories from the Heart of Hanford, featuring residents from the Remington Senior Living. And I'll be back with your preview of the upcoming high school football action. This is the Hanford Insider for Monday, August 19th.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Hanford Insider. I'm your host, Rob Bentley. Thanks for listening. In community news, it's going to be a crazy week for Hanford drivers this week with lots of road closures for the pavement resurfacing projects taking place on a number of major thoroughfares and side streets. Please drive carefully and slow down in all work zones and follow detour signs while the work is taking place. The Hanford City Council will meet on Tuesday. Some of the items on the agenda include a badge pinning ceremony and oath of office for officers Armando Prieto and Faz Akram, Frank Mendez, and Antonio Lopez. Congratulations! The council will approve a resolution in support of a grant for the Federal Railroad Administration regarding a project development grant for an underpass or overpass over the tracks at Grangeville Boulevard near the old YMCA. They'll also appropriate funds for additional police vehicles to replace aging ones. They're looking for approval of a contract with Four Creeks Incorporated to provide construction management and inspection services for the downtown traffic and pedestrian improvement projects that's in the works. A major addition to the agenda packet this week is a complete record of warrants issued by the city. In other words, you can now see exactly what the city is spending money on. This has always been available on the city website, but City Council members have asked for it to be placed on each agenda to provide more transparency for their constituents. On Thursday, the city will host their first Citizens Outreach Zoom regarding the upcoming tax revenue Measure H on the November 5th ballot. Follow the city's social media accounts for links to join the Zoom. Finally, the city has announced that they've extended the swim season at the Plunge through October. The pool will be open on Saturdays and Sundays from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. For questions, call the Recreation Department at 585-2525. Here's some things coming up on our community calendar. The King's Art Center is offering an after-school art program on Thursdays from 3:45 to 5 for children ages 5 to 10. For more information, visit kingsartcenter.org. The Department of Parks and Community Services is inviting all skateboard enthusiasts to a public conversation about the skate park plan for the new Heroes Park. The conversation will be held on Thursday, August 22nd in the City Hall training room behind Superior Dairy, beginning at 6 p.m. The Square Eights are inviting everyone to their ice cream social and square on Friday, August 23rd at the Hall on Fargo Avenue from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Hanford West High School ASB is holding a dinner and dueling pianos event on Saturday, August 24th at the Hanford Fraternal Hall beginning at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $56 per person, and all proceeds benefit the leadership program at the school. Contact the school office for more details. Main Street Hanford is holding their first mixer event on Tuesday, September 10th at Hop Forge Brewing at 5:30 p.m. It's a great opportunity for local business owners to network. Visit mainstreethanford.com for details. The Kings County Commission on Aging is holding their annual picnic at the park on Friday, September 20th at Burris Park. There'll be lots of food and fun for our seniors. For more information, call 852-2828. The Pioneer Middle School Band Boosters Club will be holding a Battle of the Bands on Saturday, September 21st at the school from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. They're currently seeking bands and sponsors. Contact the school for details. Also on September 21st, the big downtown Hanford Blues and Roots Festival will be held in the Civic Park from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., featuring Tommy Castro and the Painkillers, Evan Thomas Blues Band, Square One, and Motel Drive. This blues festival is one of the only free festivals in the country. Don't miss it. If you have an event coming up and you'd like some help getting the word out, let's work together. Send your information to hanfordinsider@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get a complete calendar of events. Gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Russell Williams, who's a veteran of the United States Navy. How you doing, Russell?
I'm doing good.
Good. Remington treating you well?
Yeah, somewhat. It's like an elevator salesman that has his ups and downs.
So, Russell, we're here obviously to talk about your service to our country, but also just to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you came into the Navy?
Well, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, California. I actually joined the Army when I was 17 and spent some time there. Got basically tired of being shot at, so I went into the Navy and had a good time. Like every job, you have good points and bad points.
And where have you served and maybe some ranks that you achieved?
Oh, wow. I served on board the USS Kitty Hawk, CV-63, USS Constellation, CV-64, USS Essex, LHD-2, New Orleans, LPH-11, and USS Pellew, I think it's LPD-5. I also had a shore station in Corpus Christi, Texas with VT-28, which is an IP training for pilots, and as a recruiter or NRD, Navy Recruiting District, Los Angeles, up in Santa Maria and Lompoc.
So you had, how many years of service total did you have?
Basically 27 years of service.
27 years. That's amazing. What were some of the places, some of the bases that you were stationed at?
Well, of course, that was San Diego, Philadelphia Naval Shipyard when we took the Kitty Hawk in for SLEP, NAS Corpus Christi, and of course, Navy Recruiting District, Los Angeles, in Lompoc and Santa Maria.
Can you think of a situation or a conflict that you may have been in where you had to kind of question what you were doing and really made you think about your service to our country?
It was when I was in Somalia and went out and did some going to different like little towns or little villages and talking and passing out candy to kids, and a situation where a little girl lost her life because of a weapon that she pulled on up. But
and what about some of the lifelong friendships that you made serving? I'm sure you probably were in contact with some of your fellow sailors for years afterwards.
Actually, there was one. His name was Russell Rowe, who basically followed the same path as I did, coming out of the Army, going into the Navy. We met aboard the PCUs on the USS Essex in San Diego. And we kind of hit it on all. He was with transportation, and I was with aviation. So he kept on calling me a target, and I kept on calling him a ground pounder. But we followed our paths basically to the USS Essex. He was with recruiting in Los Angeles, and I was with NRDLA. And then our last duty station was at the air base in Lemoore.
Oh, in Lemoore.
I was with the AIMD as a safety hazmat and ADP officer, and he was with the consolidated brig.
So how about family? You have a family that comes and visits you at the Remington?
No. My son, he is now a first lieutenant at Fort Carlson with the 4th Infantry. He's married, has a little daughter, and my daughter is somewhere in Michigan.
You've got some great friends here at the Remington. With very warm reception when I came in this afternoon.
Yeah. I'm part of the ambassador program where we greet new people coming on in and help them kind of like establish a foot in the Rivington, so they're not left out alone. If you need any help, give me a call. Set them down with people that are basically with the same interests, stuff, and then kind of get them used to it.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity for you to serve others.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of activities. Obviously, get some good food here, but they have a lot of activities for you as well, right?
Right. One of the activities we like to do is on Thursday, we go out for lunch. This week, we're going to go to Sal's restaurant, Mexican restaurant in Selma.
Oh.
We got to Olive Garden, Carol's, even IHOP, just get a little break, from the life here and get on out into the town.
Yeah, and I know you have different organizations will come in, and maybe they'll have church services, or you'll have school music groups come in. I've brought my jazz band here several times to perform over the years, and it's always a special moment for the students to meet new friends, and also the residents here to meet the school children. So,
right.
Russell, I'd like to thank you for sitting down with me this afternoon, and thank you for your service to our country, and I hope you have a wonderful time at the Remington.
And thank you.
Well, our next friend that we got to meet had a wonderful time visiting with Miss Judy Finney, who is a resident at the Remington. And some of you actually may remember Judy. She was a author, and she has authored several books on local history. She was also a writer for the Hanford Sentinel and several other publications. Welcome to the show, Judy.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Judy, how long have you been a resident here at the Remington?
About 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. Wow, just new arrival. Russell here was probably on your greeting committee.
Yeah, he was. You and Mary Lambert. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
They're taking real good care of me.
That's great to hear. Judy, can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing in the local area and maybe what inspired you to become an author?
Well, I was born here in the Hanford Sanitarium, where my older brother always said they should have left me. And I spent the first 4 years of my life in Tulare County, and my parents were able to save up money to rent a small farm here in Kings County. And I just lived the rest of my youth in small farms here in Kings County.
So I'm going to grill you about some local history. Then you mentioned the Hanford.
I probably won't know it.
It's okay. We can work together on this. So the Hanford Sanitarium was on Irwin Street, and some people confuse the term sanitarium with hospital, but at that point in time, hospitals were called sanitariums, correct?
Correct.
So what does it say on your birth certificate?
Hanford Sanitarium.
Hanford Sanitarium. That's a common, I run a Facebook page called You Might Be From Hanford If You Remember This, and whenever a picture comes up of that building...
Yeah, because it was spooky looking for a long time.
Yeah. It's wonderful that you have these Hanford connections. So where did you go to school?
I went to Kit Carson Elementary School. I also taught there for several years. And I graduated from Hanford High when there was only one high school, Go Pups. And then I went to COS and Fresno State, Go Dogs.
Same here, Hanford High, COS, Fresno State, Go Dogs.
If they hadn't had those abilities, a lot of us would not have been able to afford colleges.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have those resources here so close to home. So when you went to college, was journalism your angle, or what was
No, I have never taken any journalism classes. I have a weird theory that if you want to really be creative or you don't want to get stuck in a box, don't take those courses. Other people would argue
So
that.
what did you end up majoring in?
I social science with minors in many other areas.
What made you gravitate towards writing?
It was always in me, I think. And I can remember my older brother writing down what I was telling him when I was about 5.
So let's talk about your time at the Hanford Sentinel and some of the other maybe newspapers that you've written for, maybe people that you remember, certain events in Hanford's history that you might remember that stuck out in your mind?
Well, I thought I first started writing for Pulitzer, and I stayed with them till they went belly up. And then I did freelance for a lot of magazines, some of them you might know. I was a columnist for Fork Wheel and Off-Road magazine. special to the Western Artist magazine. I did a whole series on the Anasazi Native Americans for the Smithsonian, and I just love writing. And I have, this book out, and then I have have a nibble at a murder mystery I'm working on right now, set here in this fair. And then in the future, and I'm researching a book on the Muscle Slough tragedy.
Yeah, we had a big discussion about that on last week's episode. So the book that she was referring to, as she says right here, it's actually a book about Lemoore history. And some of you have probably been in local stores like Walgreens or Rite Aid, and you've seen these books on the display. And I would encourage you to buy one of her books, or Michael Seamus's, or Robin Roberts.
They're great.
Fantastic historians that have taken the time to share pictures and stories with us that are so important to generations to come, so that they can understand the deep appreciation that we had for history. They can get to know more about themselves through the study of local history. So you said you're researching Muscle Slough. What have you come across so far?
Just about that, beyond the terrible thing that happened there, the murders. It was so a media circus, because the Chronicle in San Francisco was just taking, and Mr. Hearst wanted stuff that would get everybody upset, so they read his newspapers, and it put this weird slant on the whole event when it wasn't all bad railroad and all good settlers. So I'm going to try to bring that out.
Yeah, that would be interesting to study. We talked about how the farmers in the area and their property, and it's similar to what we're experiencing now with high-speed rail, the people that have experienced loss of land and just that whole thing going on. So it's great that you've taken the time to research that and do that. Is there a particular, since you're Hanford native, what are some particular events that maybe stand out in your memory of things that Hanford, your time in Hanford, maybe things that happened, events? We talked about a lot of big downtown fires on last week's episode as well. What are maybe some things that stick out in your mind about going to school in Hanford, or maybe since then, events that have happened that really kind of just set your mind?
Well, the fact that we are drought and flood, and about every 11 years we have a good flood. And also, Hanford Sentinel may not like this, but when I was in my early teens, it took the sheriff department detectives 4 times to go out to really make sure that these women were dancing topless. I thought, yeah.
4 times.
4 times. And that's funny, isn't it? They got closed down.
Yeah.
And
yeah, definitely some interesting places. What else?
The change, of course, of small farming into corporate farming. And, sometimes I wish we'd all go back to, the small farms, but that cannot be. History continues to move on forward. But the camaraderie all the neighbors had at Christmas, everybody snuck everybody else gifts in the community. It wasn't, something required. And all the huge Christmas pageants that used to have for the city, and then the festas, the Catholic celebrations, big parades for that. And this small town atmosphere encouraged almost everybody here in Hanford and Kings County. And, they were really great friends. And although I tend to be liberal, I find the conservatives here sometimes they do have good ideas. So we, we must remember that. Thank goodness for COS. I think, for being there to push us on into Fresno State. So, yeah.
Isn't it amazing now you're living here on 11th and Fargo, and who would have thought growing up, I mean, we're talking even in my lifetime, it ended at Cortner, and years before, farther south of Fargo for sure. But isn't it amazing how much Hanford has grown over the last 20, 30 years?
We farmed a small amount of land on Fargo, just about where this stands now. It just, in the blink of eye, everything has changed, which it should.
Yeah.
It should. But I love it here, and that's why I stay here. If you get them to really believe that you are sincere in what you want to do, the people will bend over backwards to help you. Sometimes even if they don't know what they're talking about, but, it's just fun. It's just fun. And if you can't have fun, well, I hope someday you will have fun.
Well, it certainly sounds like you found a great place to meet friends and be treated well by the staff. And I'd like to thank both Russell and Judy for coming on the show today. It's been wonderful getting to meet you, and I look forward to coming back, and maybe you can introduce me to more of your friends here.
Well, it was a pleasure for me.
Thank you.
And now it's time for Hanford Insider Sports with Eric Bentley.
Local high school sports teams are gearing up for another great year, and so are we here at the Hanford Insider. In football action, all 3 schools took the field for a final scrimmage before the season gets underway this week. Hanford West headed on the road Wednesday to battle Orange Cove, as head coach Michael Moore has the Huskies looking to improve on a winless season in 2023. Hanford High strapped the pads on at home against Madera in scrimmage action on Thursday. After finishing 9-2 last season, the Bullpups return a lot of their star-studded roster with dynamic two-way players Cordy Glass and Albert Richardson, along with quarterback Daniel Gomez playing behind a senior-heavy offensive line. And Sierra Pacific closed out the scrimmage action as they battled Arvin on Friday at Neighbor Bowl. Coach Ryan DeSantos and the Golden Bears will try to build off of their 7-4 record from last year. And with the scrimmages out of the way, the regular season starts this week, and here are your Week 1 matchups. Defending WIL champion Hanford High and their up-tempo offense will take to the road to start their 2024 campaign. The Bullpups will head down the I-5 on Thursday to clash with Kennedy in Bakersfield. A tough test for the Bullpups in an early season matchup between top Division I teams. Hanford West gets the action going at the newly renovated Neighbor Bowl on Thursday as they open up their season against Fowler. And Friday, Sierra Pacific has their turn to get things going as they play host to Woodlake. Meanwhile, we like to cover as many local sports as we can, so if you have a score report or story idea, make sure to email hanfordinsider@gmail.com. I'm Eric Bentley, and this has been your Hanford Insider Sports Report.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show. Join me next week when I sit down with local realtor Thomas Curtis to talk about the current trends in the real estate market in our area. If you enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to show your support, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Hanford Insider to make a donation. Thanks for your support. If you'd like to join the Hanford Insider email list, stop by my website at hanfordinsider.com to sign up for updates. You'll also get an exclusive copy of my newsletter in your inbox each week. You can send me feedback by voicemail through the website by clicking on the microphone icon. I'd love to hear from you. Your comments may even be shared on the show. I also need your help getting the word out about the show by liking and sharing on social media or telling a friend. For more information about the show, you can find this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and YouTube at Hanford Insider. If you have a show idea, be sure to email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com and I'll look into it. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.